Biodiversity refers to total sum of life on Earth, which is a huge thing. It consists of thousands of wild habitats, millions of species, trillions of individual characteristic features. Biodiversity is immense, which is a good thing for the survival of life on Earth. Biodiversity is essential not only for living organisms but also the human beings. Earth requires biodiversity, immense and vast, for the survival of all species. 1/3 of the Earth should be covered by the forest to remove the carbon dioxide and replace it with the oxygen. Thousands of varieties of pollinators, soil worms and tons of planktons to keep our food supply continue. We require varieties of plants to supply us medicines, swamps, mangroves to protect our coasts, and variety of living organisms to make our life on Earth wonderful, beautiful. Life on Earth is being damaged due to human greed in last 50 years extensively. We have damaged their habitat, reduced their population, and have resulted in extinction of very rare species. Lions of Africa have been reduced to 65%. 75% of the flying insects in Europe have been reduced. The tuna fishes of the Pacific have been reduced to the rate of 95%. This is not a good thing. In order to keep the biodiversity on life, it is essential for us to make a scientific study of biodiversity. And we have different tools for the study of biodiversity. Life on Earth to be continued, for which we have to understand biodiversity more clearly and more scientifically. In order to study biodiversity scientifically, we have taxonomical aids. There are two types of taxonomical aids. Number one, the aids using specimens. Number two, the aids without specimens. The taxonomical aids having specimens are Herbarium, Botanical Garden, Museum, Zoological Garden and Key. We shall study first these 5 and then go to the taxonomical aids without using specimens. Herbarium is a taxonomical aid using the specimen. It is a method in which the plants are dried, pressed and preserved in an international standardized methods. Herbarium helps in reference and study of plant specimens in the dead conditions. The pressed dried plants are pasted on a sheet called herbarium sheets. The pressing and pasting of the plant is such that the parts are clearly visible, both the vegetative and reproductive parts. If the plant is small, the whole plant is pasted. If the plant is large, a twig of the plant is pasted. At the corner of the plant, the details of the plant, the common name, the English name, the scientific name is mentioned. Along with that, the date and place of collection of the plant is mentioned along with the name of the collector. These details are also be preserved along with the plant specimens. Botanical gardens. The diversity of plant species are conserved in live conditions. A botanical garden, even it appears as a normal garden, it is not. Here, the plants of not only of aesthetic value, the plants of varieties either useful or not useful directly for human beings are grown. Royal Botanical Garden, Kew, near London, is the largest and most famous botanical garden. In Bangalore, we have Lalbagh. We have a botanical garden in Ooty also. Here in this botanical garden, wide varieties of plants are grown in an aesthetic value, which will be for study purpose. The botanical garden has a central glass house for the growth of the plants. Museums are also taxonomical aids using specimens. Museums are seen in schools and colleges, but large museums are major attraction for biological studies present in cities, metro cities. In museums, the animal specimens are stored for studies. The specimens are in wet condition or in a dry condition. The wet specimens are preserved in the formaldehyde or alcohol, whereas the dry specimens are stuffed animals, skeletons and insect boxes. The specimens collected act as reference for the study of wide varieties of animal species that are present today and that were present in the ancient days. These specimens act as reference for identification, classification and naming of organisms. These specimens are the attraction for the students for study of biology. Insect boxes, wet specimens, skeletons are present in the museums along with the stuffed animals and birds. Zoological parks are taxonomic aids where animal specimens are present in live conditions. They are commonly called zoo, which are major tourist attractions. In zoological parks, wild animals are kept in human care. Here we can see the wild animals, their characteristics, their feeding habits. In zoological park, importance is given for their well-being. They are caged in a condition, not a congested place. They are placed in such a way that they feel they are in their natural habitat. This helps the animals to live long and also breed. Zoological parks is a storehouse of amphibians, reptiles and wide varieties of birds and mammals. Zoological parks are the place of study for biologists. We can see them naturally because studying in wild is not that easy. Zoological parks are important taxonomical tools. These places are enjoyed by the children visitors. Children enjoy seeing wide varieties of plants and animals in live conditions. Key is a taxonomic aid. It is called dichotomous key. For example, you are finding a bird there. What bird it is? How to identify what species of bird it is? For example, there are 4 birds. You want to identify the bird A. First we shall identify the bird A, then go to B, C and D. Questions are there which are called leads. Question number 1. Has the bird has a yellow feathers? If yes, it is a weaver bird. If not, then you have to go to question number 2. The second question or the second lead is the beak, whether it is red or grey. If it is grey, it should be a babbler. If not, you go to question number 3. Whether the beak is straight or bent. If it is straight, it will be a kingfisher. If it is bent, it will be a hornbill. Here, it is a hornbill. So, we are identifying based on questions called leads. What about the kingfisher? It has a red beak and a straight beak. So, it is a kingfisher. Bird C has yellow feathers, so it is a weaver bird. Whereas bird D has a grey beak, not a red beak, so it is a babbler. So we identify the 4 birds by answering some questions. First of all, we have a specimen in front of us. And we answer the questions called as lead. Every question has 2 options which are totally different from each other, which are called couplets. As you keep on answering the questions, you will be going closer and closer to the identification. At the end of the question, you will identify a particular species, which can also be in case of plants or any animals. So, key is a taxonomic aid used to identify an organism. Taxonomical aids without specimens. Yes, even with the absence of specimens in front of us, we can identify a particular species of plant or animal. There are 4 methods: flora, manuals, monograph and catalog. Number 1, flora. Flora refers to the type of vegetation or plants present in a particular area. For example, in a district, what type of plants are present in that particular district is mentioned in flora. Flora refers to type of plant species present in a particular area. Whereas manuals help us to identify a particular species in a particular area. Flora is particularly related with plants, whereas manuals are related with any species present in an area. The third aid without specimens is monograph. Monographs gives us information about a particular taxon present in a particular area. And catalog gives us the total list of types of organisms present in an area, which helps in identification of a particular species. So, without the specimens also, identification is possible with the help of flora, manuals, monographs and catalog. Immense diversity of earth is the speciality of the earth. We have to study it scientifically, for which we use taxonomical aids. Is the study of biodiversity is enough? No. We have to conserve, we have to preserve, we have to sustain the biodiversity. Without biodiversity, life on earth will not be possible, and earth is unique because of life present on it. Biology is study of life. Biology is study of biodiversity. Biology is study of this wonderful living world. Let there be life forever.